What is going on, everybody? You may have noticed by the title of this video that I am going to be reviewing an album today, and that might take some of you by surprise. That yes, I do in fact enjoy music as well, and I've been contemplating doing this for a while. A long time ago, when I first introduced my YouTube channel, I attempted to post an album review. That does not even exist on my channel anymore, but music has really impacted my life just as much as movies have, and obviously I'm not an expert on music. I can play some instruments. I don't feel like I have the technical knowledge to talk about production and those type of things the way really educated music scholars can, but music has really impacted my life in a lot of ways. And it's weird because you start something like a YouTube channel reviewing movies and you think, how can I incorporate other elements of my personality into this so that way it doesn't just feel like one thing? And I thought it would be really cool to maybe once a week or once every other week to give you guys a review of an album that means a lot to me or something that has been impacting me for a while, and talk about it in detail and kind of give you ideas as to why I enjoy it, and hopefully open you guys up to other forms of art that you can also appreciate. And that's my whole goal with this. I'm really excited to talk about this album with you today. This is an album that I discovered shortly after its release that has left a really profound impact on my life. It's a very important record to me that I feel like every time I listen to it, my appreciation for it grows. It is a very cinematic record. The record I'm going to be discussing with you today is Preacher's Daughter from Ethel Cain. So Ethel Cain is actually a character created for this record by musical artist Hayden Anadonia, and this persona is this character who is a young girl who lives with her dad that is a preacher, who is an incredibly abusive parent. She suffers abuse and trauma. She's also forced to go to church. Religion plays a very big part into her life, and a lot of it is not only navigating her experience as a daughter of an authoritarian figure in the church, but also dealing with sexuality, dealing with abuse. At one point during the record, she ends up getting implied sold into sex work and abused and eventually killed and cannibalized at the end of the record. It is an insane journey from the first track all the way to the end, but despite it being very cinematic, it's also incredibly beautiful and poignant in so many different ways. And the lyricism on this record is really what keeps bringing me back, and Hayden's incredible vocal performances. Hayden is such an amazing vocalist in that she knows when to really just pack the punch emotionally with these really high vocal deliveries that just work so well. There's a song on the record called Ptolemaea, which has this just insane screaming segment on the record that just feels so brutal and really intense, and it packs a really heavy emotional punch. And like I said, this record has a lot of highs and a lot of lows, but what really strikes me, and as a lot of you who may have watched my channel before, or if this is your first time ever watching one of my videos, I grew up in a hyper-religious household with a minister as a father, and it was really difficult at times because you're being held to such a high standard in your life as to how you present yourself, how other people see you in the world, and you're not allowed to necessarily engage in the things that you want to engage in and be a part of the things you want to be a part of. And also, as a self-identified queer person, that was also difficult growing up. I didn't come out as a queer person until I was in my late 20s because it was something I really repressed because of the church for a very long time. And I think it's interesting seeing Hayden, who is a queer trans person, that's writing a record about being a minister's kid and dealing with those struggles. There are so many moments on this, even though it's a fictionalized character, you can tell there's obviously some lived experience laden throughout the fictitious storyline that's being created here. And I'm sure there's a lot pulled from real world experiences and true crime that has occurred as well. But I think what's so impressive about it is just how emotionally resonant that the lyricism is for people who have dealt with those type of experiences. There's one lyric in particular on the song Sun-Bleached Flies, which a lot of people come back to when they listen to this record, which she talks about after being kidnapped and put in this situation, wishing that she could be in church. And the line says, listening to the choir all heartfelt sing, God loves you, but not enough to save you. And I think that that is honestly, like, for someone like me, I read that in so many different ways. as being a person that was in church, that was told that this was the only way to live life, that it was the only way that you could grow and thrive as a person. And now I identify as the least religious person you've ever met. But I think there's something really beautiful in that set of lyricism, and there's a ton of moments on this record that criticize that culture in a way that's could only be done from a person who's lived it, really. And I think Hayden does a beautiful job at showcasing that throughout the record. And as far as instrumentation, so many moments on this record are really stripped back so that the vocals can really be at the forefront. And I think that's important for something like this record. There's a song like American Teenager, which is almost feels like, you know, an upbeat ballad that has really just depressing lyrics at its core. And the album just gets darker and darker until you get to that last track, Strangers, which is essentially about our lead, Ethel Cain, here getting cannibalized by the person who kidnapped her and sold her into sex work. And it's really heartbreaking, but the lyrics are beautiful, and I think they're really thought-provoking. Hayden has just become one of my favorite artists. I replay this record consistently. It's very cinematic to me. It's like someone going to film school. I just see this and I'm like, somebody turn this into a movie, because it could be so impactful and really move a lot of people, especially with how much the record has moved me as a person over time, listening to it again and again. And I just could not recommend this album more. If you've never listened to this album, it's such a unique style. It's hard to pinpoint it to one genre. I would start by listening to American Teenager. Gives you kind of an idea of the sound, and then just start the album from the beginning and play it to the end. It's really an immersive storytelling experience, and I would recommend experiencing it the way that it was intended to be experienced. I think this album is perfect. I have no issues with it whatsoever. I think Hayden is such an incredible artist, and I hope to see more from her very soon. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for, especially if you like new content like me reviewing an album. I always appreciate your feedback and looking forward to getting more content out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.